try this again. All right. Yeah. I'll go with that. Well, we're starting. All right, guys, enjoy. Breaking news. Trump keeps promising to defeat ISIS next week again and again. I don't think it's going to happen because we are ISIS. Makes no sense. But whatever. Keep on lying to everybody. And you're going to keep on getting your ass handed to you. Enjoy.
Held territory in Syria will be recaptured by next week. Donald Trump made that claim at a major counter-terrorism conference in Washington, D.C. earlier Thursday, but it's not the first time he's made bold statements about successes against the terror group.
It should be formally announced sometime, probably next week, that we will have 100% of the caliphate.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to wait for the official word. I don't want to say it too early. We're knocking the hell out of ISIS. We'll be coming out of Syria like very soon. We absolutely decimated ISIS. Just absolutely obliterated ISIS in Iraq. We have won against ISIS. We've beaten them, and we've beaten them badly. Now we've won. It's time to come back.
Meantime, Russia and Iran were also discussing the conference, with US officials saying the two
come
countries
back,
hold the key to solving the conflict in Syria.
Today, Iran and Russia are important players there, and we've worked diligently to take down the caliphate, to reduce the risk from ISIS, and now have a political process.
Now, folks will remember that Mike Pompeo and Donald Trump have openly talked about the creation of an Arab NATO to coordinate their anti-terrorism efforts.
Do you believe that you can still do a NATO-type alliance
Absolutely.
against Iran?
I'm convinced that we can. I think every country understands that it's in their best interest.
So it was in 2017 when Trump was in the Middle East, he put forward the vision of creating an Arab NATO. The idea is that this would be a military alliance, including 6 Gulf states, as well as Egypt and Jordan, and that it would be a military alliance. They would coordinate anti-terrorism activities, military alliance, and counter the Islamic Republic of Iran. We're getting mixed messages from Washington, D.C. People will recall how Donald Trump announced that the USA was removing all of its troops from Syria because the ISIL terrorists had been defeated. However, we now hear from the Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, that actually this was just a tactical move.
The fight is one that we will continue to wage alongside of you. The drawdown of troops is essentially a tactical change. It is not a change in the mission. It does not change the structure, design, or authorities on which the campaign has been based. It simply represents a new stage in an old fight.
Well, that was easy. That was fast, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. Let me see if I can get the for crying out loud, I'm sorry. I do got bad eyes, so please excuse me from trying to get everything right for y'all. One eye is what I'm doing this with. So the news. What in the world just happened? Wow. Did we just freeze? Yep. I know. Okay. We're having problems with weather, with the news and internet. Here you go, guys. Enjoy.
Pain does not.
We're not done. We got more news.
The final word.
One day when we get out of the commercial.
Icy hot.
Here you go.
Reports this morning.
The INF treaty.
Can I not get this right? Okay. Here we go. Enjoy.
The US tested a new intercontinental ballistic missile Tuesday. It was launched from an Air Force base in Southern California and sailed over the Pacific Ocean, landing eventually at an atoll almost 7,000 kilometers away. Then, just hours later, the Russian military tested its own ICBM-2.
Oh, don't hit me, man. What are you doing? Oh, gosh, you don't know how
Well, Although the launches have been described as routine, they come, of course, as fears grow over the potential for a nuclear arms race following the suspension of that key missile agreement on Saturday. RT senior correspondent Roy Gazdiev reports this morning.
The INF Treaty was a pillar of global security, not only because it resulted in the removal of missiles and launchers from Europe, but also because of what was removed. Short-range nuclear missiles, highly mobile, incredibly quick, both to launch and their speed, much cheaper than huge strategic nukes. Everyone was always on the edge. With short-range nuclear missiles around, they could strike in an instant. Barely any warning. For more than 30 years, they were gone. But now, those missiles are coming back, unless we get a new deal. I hope that we're able to get everybody in a very big and beautiful room and your new treaty that would be much better. Not everyone wants a new deal. Some see this treaty collapse as an opportunity. More funding, more R&D, more better short-range missiles.
Now the Department of Defense will be able to conduct those research and development activities banned under the INF Treaty. So the Department of Defense will start those steps on building those systems they couldn't before.
You can forgive the odd official with more ambition than sense, but the military-industrial complex, those guys that make and sell missiles, oh, they're ecstatic. Raytheon and Lockheed Martin wasted no time and are soon going to be testing their prototypes, precision strike missiles with ranges greater than 500 kilometers.
Withdrawing from the INF Treaty is a good start. Now this action must be backed by American firepower. The United States must regain this strategic advantage by expediting the development and deployment of a new generation of ground-launched missiles.
It's incredible. They seemingly want an arms race, a nuclear arms race, and that's what they're getting. Russia, which the US accused of violating the treaty, promises to respond, develop new weapons. That is not to say everyone's gone nuts. There are still people with sense, people that realize a nuclear arms race isn't going to lead to anything good. People who realize that arms treaties where the world removes, not adds nukes,
Putin takes out
is
the
good
world
for humanity.
Yeah, I think
they want to fight. They got
Democrats to be attacking Putin on all issues and not holding open the channel of nuclear dialogue. Yes, deal with the issues in Syria and killing the diplomats and Ukraine and Crimea and all the rest of that. But that doesn't warrant a nuclear blunder that kills billions of people or millions. So yes, whether you're a Democrat or Republican or somewhere in between, we need to have dialogue. And something that might help is a bit of humility.
I don't even know what's crazier nowadays. People cheering a nuclear arms race or people calling for dialogue. Many want an arms race. And you know why?
The 13
because
World
nukes
Banks
are pretty.
We see these beautiful pictures at night. I am tempted to quote the great Leonard Cohen, I'm guided by the beauty of our weapons. And they are beautiful pictures of fearsome armaments.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, beautiful to kill people. You're ignorant. Let's go to the next one. Yeah, this is very disturbing, folks. World War III's are around the corner. Could be closer than you think. I don't know what's going on with this thing today. There we go. So the next one. Yeah, we got marijuana. Medical marijuana. Coming to Alabama, folks. Check this out. You might want to move to Alabama if you want to smoke. Breaking news.
Drug or a slippery addiction?
Yeah, this is breaking news. Check this out.
A miracle drug or a slippery slope to addiction? Medical marijuana in Alabama. What it would treat, how it would be regulated, and if the benefits outweigh the risks. The medical marijuana debate all day, Thursday, every newscast on CBS 42.
A miracle drug or a slippery slope to addiction? Medical marijuana in Alabama. What it would treat, how it would be regulated, and if the benefits outweigh the risks. The medical marijuana debate. All day, Thursday, every newscast on CBS 42.
There you have it, folks. Medical marijuana coming to Alabama. That's just breaking news today. There you go. Let's go to the next one. My gosh. We're just going to rock and roll, right? All right, here we go. Alert to China. Stealth surprise. The B-2 stealth bomber is getting ready to wage nuclear war. But who is it? Russia or the United States?
Also, the B-2 was slated to fly alongside the service's emerging B-21 Raider next generation stealth bomber. This platform, to be ready in the mid-2020s, is led by many Air Force developers to include a new generation of stealth technologies, vastly expanding the current operational ranges and abilities of existing stealth bombers. In fact, Air Force leaders have said that the B-21 will be able to hold any target in the world at risk, anytime. The Air Force's B-2 stealth bomber has test-dropped an upgraded, multi-function B-61-12 nuclear bomb, which improves accuracy, integrates various attack options into a single bomb, and changes the strategic landscape with regard to nuclear weapons mission possibilities. Earlier this summer, the Air Force dropped a B-61-12 nuclear weapon from a B-2 at Nellis AFB, marking a new developmental flight test phase for the upgraded bomb. Air Force spokeswoman Captain Help Cronin told Warrior Maven earlier this year. The updated weapon will include improved safety, security, and reliability, Cronin said. The B-61-12 adds substantial new levels of precision targeting and consolidates several different kinds of attack options into a single weapon. Instead of needing separate variants of the weapon for different functions, the B-61-12 by itself allows for earth-penetrating attacks, low-yield strikes, high-yield attacks, above-surface detonation, and bunker-buster options. The latest version of the B-61 thermonuclear gravity bomb, which has origins as far back as the 1960s, is engineered as a low-to-medium-yield strategic and tactical nuclear weapon, according to nuclearreponsarchive.org, which also states the weapon has a two-stage radiation implosion design. The main advantage of the B-61-12 is that it packs all the gravity bomb capabilities against all the targeting scenarios into one bomb. That spans from very low-yield tactical clean use with low follow to more dirty attacks against underground targets. Hans Christensen, director of the Nuclear Information Project, Federation of American Scientists, told Warrior Maven. Air Force officials described this, in part, by referring to the upgraded B-61-12 as having an all-up-round. The flight test accomplished dedicated B-61-12 developmental test requirements and all-up-round system-level integration testing on the B-2, Cronin said. The B-61 MAD-12 is engineered with the special tail sub-assembly to give the bomb increased accuracy, giving a new level of precision targeting using inertial navigation systems, Christensen said. Right now, the B-2 carries only B-61-7, 10 to 360 kilotons, B-61-11, 400 kilotons, earth penetrator, and B-83-1, high-yield bunker.
Raccoon.
Rock the call.
Bunker buster. The B-61-12 covers all of those missions, with less radioactive fallout, plus very low yield attacks, he added. The evidence that the B-61-12 can penetrate below the surface has significant implications for the types of the targets that can be held at risk with the bomb. By bringing an earth-penetrating component, the B-61-12 vastly increases the target scope or envelope of attack. It can enable more narrowly targeted or pinpointed strikes at high-value targets underground, without causing anywhere near the same level of devastation above ground or across a wider area. A nuclear weapon that detonates after penetrating the Earth more efficiently transmits its explosive energy to the ground, thus is more effective at destroying deeply buried targets for a given nuclear yield. A detonation above ground, in contrast, results in a larger fraction of the explosive energy bouncing off the surface, Christensen explained. Massive B-2 upgrade. The testing and integration of the B-6112 is one piece of a massive, fleet-wide B-2 upgrade designed to sustain the bomber into coming years, until large numbers of the emerging B-21 Raider are available. A range of technical modifications are also intended to prepare the 1980s era bomber for very sophisticated, high-end modern threats. The B-2 was getting improved digital weapons integration. New computer processing power reported to be 1,000 times faster than existing systems and next-generation sensors designed to help the aircraft avoid enemy air defenses. One of the effort's key modifications is designed to improve what's called the bomber's defensive management system, a technology designed to help the B-2 recognize and elude enemy air defenses, using various antennas, receivers, and display processors. The defensive management system is to detect signals or signatures emitting from ground-based anti-aircraft weapons, Air Force officials have said. Current improvements to the technology are described by Air Force developers as the most extensive modification effort that the B-2 has attempted. The modernized system, called a B-2 DMSM unit, consists of a replacement of legacy DMS subsystems so that the aircraft can be effective against the newest and most lethal enemy air defenses. The upgraded system integrates a suite of antennas, receivers, and displays that provide real-time intelligence information to aircrew, a service official told Warrior Maven. Upgrades consist of improved antennas with advanced digital electronic support measures, or ESMs, along with software components designed to integrate new technologies with existing B-2 avionics, according to an operational test and evaluation report from the Office of the Secretary of Defense. The idea of the upgrade is, among other things, to inform B-2 crews about the location of enemy air defenses so that they can avoid or maneuver around high-risk areas where the aircraft is more likely to be detected or targeted. The DMSM is used to detect radar emissions from air defenses and provide B-2 air crews with faster mission planning information while in flight. Air Force officials explained that while many of the details of the upgraded DMSM unit are not available for security reasons, the improved system does allow the stealthy B-2 to operate more successfully in more high-threat, high-tech environments, referred to by Air Force strategists as highly contested environments. Many experts have explained that 1980s stealth technology is known to be less effective against the best-made current and emerging air defenses. Newer, more integrated systems use faster processors, digital networking, and a wider range of detection frequencies. The DMSM upgrade does not in any way diminish the stealth properties of the aircraft, meaning it does not alter the contours of the fuselage or change the heat signature to a degree that it would make the bomber more susceptible to enemy radar, developers said. Many advanced air defenses use X-band radar, a high-frequency, short wavelength signal able to deliver a high-resolution imaging radar such as that for target.
Epson has led the charge on digital print quality for the entire industry. The new Epson ink technology.
Targeting. S-band frequency, which operates from 2 to 4 gigahertz, is another is also used by many air defenses, among other frequencies. X-band radar operates from 8 to 12 gigahertz. Synthetic aperture radar, or SAR, sends forward an electromagnetic ping before analyzing the return signal to determine shape, speed, size, and location of an enemy threat. SAR paints a rendering of sorts of a given target area. X-band provides both precision tracking as well as horizon scans or searches. Stealth technology, therefore, uses certain contour configurations and radar-absorbing coating materials to confuse or thwart electromagnetic signals from air defenses. These techniques are, in many cases, engineered to work in tandem with IR, infrared, suppressors used to minimize or remove a heat signature detectable by air defenses IR radar sensors. Heat coming from the exhaust or engine of an aircraft can provide air defense defense systems with indication that an aircraft is operating overhead. These stealth technologies are intended to allow a stealth bomber to generate little or no return radar signal, giving air-dense operators an incomplete, non-existent, or inaccurate representation of an object flying overhead. The absence of vertical structures more likely to generate a return signal from enemy radar is another key element of stealth strategy. This is why the B-2 is flat, with an internal engine designed to limit heat emissions. The idea is to make a B-2 appear to be equivalent to a bird or insect to enemy radar. The B-61-12 is also being prepared for the F-35 and a few other Air Force platforms. Also, the B-2 was slated to fly alongside the service's emerging B-21 Raider next-generation stealth bomber. This platform, to be ready in the mid-2020s, is said by many Air Force developers to include a new generation of stealth technologies, vastly expanding the current operational ranges and abilities of existing stealth bombers. In fact, Air Force leaders have said that the B-21 will be able to hold any target in the world at risk, anytime. The Air Force currently operates 20 B-2 bombers, with the majority of them based at Whiteman AFB in Missouri. The B-2 can reach altitudes of 50,000 feet and carry 40,000 pounds of payload, including both conventional and nuclear weapons. The aircraft, which entered service in the 1980s, has flown missions over Iraq, Libya, and Afghanistan. In fact, given its ability to fly as many as 6,000 nautical miles without need to refuel, the B-2 flew from Missouri all the way to an island off the coast of India called Diego Garcia, before launching bombing missions over Afghanistan. Chris Osborne became the managing editor of Warrior Maven in August of 2015. Osborne previously served at the Pentagon as a highly qualified expert with the Office of the Assistant Secretary of the Army, Acquisition, Logistics, and Technology. Osborne has also worked as an anchor and on-air military specialist at CNN and CNN Headline News.
President's Day savings start early this year at Big Lots. With a $1 initial payment and no credit needed, you can take home a new
Yep, I believe war's about to happen, and I hope it kills Michael for not listening to me. Yep. You subscribe to me a bunch of times because it shows the where you live and everything. I don't know if you knew that or not, dumbass. And I'm not going to talk to you that much tonight either because I got more news to talk and I got this online race to do, okay? Russian anti-aircraft missiles S-300 spotted in Syria. What I talked about on Facebook Live this morning. Here's the story. And now, I was the first one to say it. Now he's the second one. I haven't heard it from nobody else. Get ready, guys. Magog's about to hit Jerusalem and Israel, and then the United States will be split in half.
Aircraft missiles spotted in Syria as Middle East tensions soar. Russian aerial defense missiles have been spotted in Syria as Israel continues to ramp up airstrikes on targets in the war-torn nation. The S-300 surface-to-air rockets were spotted at a base in northern Syria by Israeli company ImageSat International, ISI. Satellite images show 3 launchers are erected, which could indicate an increase of the operational level and alertness, according to the firm. The release of the pictures comes as Israeli jets continue to attack Iranian targets and those of its allied militias in Syria. Russia said it delivered S-300 launchers to Bashar al-Assad's regime in October after a Russian reconnaissance plane was accidentally shot down by forces loyal to the Syrian president. Moscow blamed Israel for irresponsible actions and claimed Israeli pilots had used the Russian Ilyushin-20 for cover as they launched an airstrike. Israel insists Syrian forces were to blame for the downing of the Ilyushin-20, which killed all 15 crewmen on board. In response, Russia sent Assad 4 launchers along with the radar systems and control vehicles needed to operate them. However, the assessment by ISI says the launchers spotted in Masyaf are not yet operational. The firm added that one of the launchers was covered by a camouflage net, which was unusual, and raised question marks about the operation level of the whole battery, and specifically of the covered and folded launcher. Meanwhile, Iran has warned Israel of firm and appropriate response if it continues attacking targets in Syria. Tehran has backed Assad in the 8-year civil war. Troops from the elite force of the Iranian Revolutionary Guards are stationed in Syria. Israel had previously refused to confirm or deny bombing Iranian targets but has been increasingly open about its airstrikes in recent weeks. On January 21st, the Israel Defense Forces, IDF, said it had bombed its force targets around the Syrian capital, Damascus. The IDF said the raid on sites, including ammunition storage facilities and a training camp, was in response to a previous rocket attack on the occupied Golan Heights. The Secretary of Iran's National Security Council, Ali Shamkhani, said the Israeli attacks violated Syria's territorial integrity and were unacceptable. He was quoted by the Fars news agency as saying, "If these actions continue, we will activate some calculated measures as a deterrent and as a firm and appropriate response to teach a lesson to the criminal and lying rulers of Israel."
In 2017, Pharrell Williams created a song that will publicly be released.
Oh yeah, by the way, I don't see the likes or the views, who's watching or anything. I'm being shadow banned. So if you're watching, that's cool. But the only way I know you're on there if you comment down below. And that's the way it's going to be. I made it to look like that. I don't want to be distracted today. And I'm not going to be distracted. And Kayla is viewing and watching. If there's anybody bullying or sexual harassment or threats, you're going to jail, bottom line. Because they know where you live. Every one of y'all do. Hey, I've been trying to warn you. The end is near for y'all. So get along or get out. Kayla's going to put a boot up your ass. And it's about time. Comes the leader right there. Second place. Yep. I'm gonna lose one spot. See it. Good pit stop. You better be focusing on World War III instead of bullying people. If your head's about to be blown off, you don't fight back the United States. I promise you that, Jack. Wolverine. Everything that I've been saying is coming true. And there's nothing y'all can do about it but fucking fight back for your country and your kids. We're going to kill the pedophiles. I promise you. 13 world banks, you don't have a chance.
Space. The final frontier. We have always
Right. Face that. Leader's up here somewhere. Your battlements are going to be blown up by Putin or George Soros. Put a homing device on your devil battlements on purpose to kill the devil worshippers. That is, how do you say it? Homeless, and on top of that, You're stupid idiots. That is none other than poor. How do you like that, Antipas? George Soros is going to kill you even though he paid you money to be a dumbass. I think that's funny. All right, we're up there. The leader's right there in that white car, excuse me. Closing in on the leader. And this Rolex Dale Earnhardt 24 Rolex. The news gets interesting, don't it? Oh yeah, it does. We're not even done, folks. Let's see. Oh, yeah. You're going to get some new emojis. Handicap emojis. Here's your one.
No, it's not something.
Let's see. Here's just something. What I reported a long time ago.
Unacceptable and contradictory is how Doctors Without Borders has described the findings of a new Saudi report which claims the humanitarian group was partly to blame for the bombing of one of its own hospitals in Yemen in June. The organisation says the Saudi-led coalition is attempting to avoid taking full responsibility for the airstrike, though. According to the disputed report, MSF, as the group is also known, Médecins Sans Frontières, failed to inform the coalition that its cholera treatment centre was a medical facility. It claims that as a result, the building was considered at the time to be a legitimate military target. MSF, though, says no, it had notified the Saudi coalition, it says, about the newly built hospital at least 12 times and had an emblem as well displayed on the roof. Riyadh since called the bombing an unintended error.
The leader's off the track, I believe. Yep. Wow. I think I got him. The leader goes off the grass. I almost went off the grass just watching him. Watch where you're at, Andrew. With one eye. And have these guys...
MSF's now demanding a new investigation and that the allegations against it be withdrawn. Rights activist Sarah Flanders told us that airstrikes on hospitals are totally unlawful.
Under international humanitarian law, medical facilities are protected. May not be targeted under any circumstances, and it is a responsibility of those carrying out the attack.
They're going to blow them up
and not for the facility itself. So even that argument is a fraudulent
they say they're going to blow up
it's
the bathroom and the hospital.
Of course, the bombing was carried out by Saudi Arabia, and the quadrants had been given again and again as medicines in Voltaire explains.
I think that's funny.
And this is the fifth time of such a medical facility, Medicines Sans Frontières facility, being bombed in 3 years' time.
I know you're there, but I don't know you're liking
front,
or disliking
it
or
is an outrageous
sharing
crime
or subscribing or liking
against
or whatever.
international
It doesn't
humanitarian
really matter
law,
no more. It's all about
and
views now.
against the people of Yemen, against the people of the whole world.
Okay, we'll go to the next one. I'm going to get out of this curve. Hope y'all enjoying this. I know y'all do. For crying out loud. Thanks for the likes and the shares and the subscribers. We're growing. I'm already 90,000 subscribers on 8 channels. And I appreciate it.
Express underlying thought and intention and
We're going to talk about reverse psychology and reverse speech sessions. Work process. This is where they get you at. They don't get me because I'm not on no drugs. Y'all are.
tap into the power of your unconscious mind with the phenomenon of reverse speech. When humans
speech is recorded and played backwards, hidden messages are revealed. These hidden messages express underlying thought and intention and can provide in-depth analysis and improvement of any situation. For over 30 years, David Oates has used reverse speech to help thousands of people from all walks of life break free from the outdated unconscious programming that currently controls their lives, dictates their actions, and holds them back from living the life they desire. Reverse speech sessions are extremely effective in the treatment of a number of issues, both physical and mental. You can heal broken relationships, manifest new career opportunities and attract money, heal long-term illnesses, and identify the reasons behind lack of progress in work, money, health, and relationships. But don't just take our word for it.
Blew me away when I first heard about it. I think that can't be true. And signed up straight away without any hesitations. And the first session was mind-blowing. It resonated straight away, connected with me, and I went. After that, I've just had many sessions after that with David.
Yeah, David did some reversals on me, and I was really scared of what you always expect the negative things up, or there's certain things you want things to come up and not to come up. And my first reaction would be all the things that I didn't want to come up, what was there hidden. And actually what I got present to was really my good side. Which was lovely. It was really great.
I couldn't believe that what I was hearing a lot of the time. Listening to the tapes and then going back, I think there's a lot that people don't say, and I learned a lot today.
It's not a one-time fix. You don't just have one session and think, yep, all my problems are over, or all my challenges are over. Now, the more sessions you have, the more you learn about yourself, the more your behaviour starts changing, and then you see yourself as your true self. You realise who you really are, and the fake facade that you had up until whatever age you are, until you introduced to the reverse speech, it dissolves away.
It can go wherever you want it to go. I think part of it is being open to the possibility and removing judgment.
And couldn't actually pinpoint anything specifically we go, well, that's definitely changed, but it was more of an overall sort of lack of anxiety that was sort of there previously.
That impacts in many different areas with reverse speech, whether it is relationship, health, finances, career, every element in your life. The reverse speech has added value to myself, and it continues to do it. So having more sessions with David.
I mean, I think anything to be able to shift our consciousness to where it's more open, and we can free ourselves of, the chains that can tend to bind us. I think it's always good for the world. And
it doesn't just help yourself. It also helps in things like, say, if you wanted to find a deal and you didn't know if that deal was good for you or not, just by talking about it through reverse speech, your unconscious will reveal that if that deal is good for you to invest in or not. So it's not just within your personal self, it's also beyond yourself as well.
He's very loving and warming, and he's non-judgmental when he asks you questions, and you just feel safe with him.
To find out more, book a free consultation with David to discuss how reverse speech can help you.
Like I've been saying, reverse of psychology. I went to school for. Half of y'all probably don't even know what the hell that is. But it's everything that's, like, for instance, Donald Trump saying he's going to do this, he's going to do that. Well, he's not, because they want to reverse psychology from George Soros and the bankers. 13 World Banks owns everything, even your presidents. And it's going to keep on being like that for a long, long time, probably until they croak and die, pretty much, if you want to know the truth, because none of the people has the balls to kill them. Nobody. All right, let's go to the next deal. Trump says he will file a national emergency. This is coming from former military Tony Vann. Day 9, Trump says he will file a national emergency February the 15th, 2019. Not too far off, is it? Well, that's his date. I don't have a date. I just say, just get ready. Anything can happen.
With money that we have on hand and money that comes in. But we will be looking at a national emergency because I don't think anything's going to happen. I think the Democrats don't want border security.
Okay. We got 9 days to go for the February 15th deadline that was given by Donald Trump to either build a wall or he's going to call a national emergency. Now, he's already said that he's going to go ahead and call it a national emergency because the people, they do not want to cooperate. So there come the food boxes right there that he's going to send out while he's eating like a king. Okay, so he's going to feed the people food boxes, and while they malnourish and start dying off, the people will be hungry, the kids will be starving, and this is what you have to look forward to. Then the people will start getting evicted because they're not paying any more Section 8. So a lot of people is going to be out in the street homeless without any place to go. They will start receiving eviction notices. And a lot of people with a lot of kids, they're going to be out on the street and extremely mad while the sheriffs put eviction notice on everybody's door, tell them that they only have so many days to get out. Even the elderly will be evicted. This is what you have to look forward to. This is what's coming after the 15th. Then after that comes the martial law and the rioting in the streets. People will be angry because they're evicted, they don't have any food, and they're going to be fighting in the streets, arguing, mad. And that's what's going to happen after the 15th. Get ready. It's coming. And there you go. Pop goes the food box. With money that we have on hand and money that comes in. But we will be looking at a national emergency because I don't think anything's going to happen. I think the Democrats don't want border security.
He's right. He's right. You're even going to be homeless, Michael. I can't wait to see that. I'm not, because I got a bunker. All right, Q, this message is directly... No, this ain't Q. This is something else.
Greetings, citizens of the world.
Okay, it's anonymous. This message is directly from our military generals to the people. Yeah, I try to warn you. Here you go, everyone.
Greetings, citizens of the world. I'm just the messenger, a digital soldier, and since we have been advising all Earths to prepare for a couple of weeks minimum in case of disruptions to the supply chain due to natural or man-made events, insurrection, or any reason at all, we feel it prudent to pass on this notification that just arrived. If you're a regular Starship reader, you are probably already prepared, but for those who were unable or did not for any reason put aside a little extra food, water, cash, meds, bed supplies, candles, batteries, fuel, you may want to do that now. Thomas Williams told us a few days ago that interruptions would probably only be a matter of a few days, so preparing for 2 weeks is probably ample. But if you feel better securing a month's worth of supplies and cash, then go for it, if it will provide peace of mind for you. By sharing this notification, we in no way guarantee we will see martial law unfold. We merely state it isn't always was a possibility. This is the storm, and we need to be prepared for anything, whether it's having to evacuate due to fire, flood, hurricane, or shelter in place due to extreme weather, a power outage, or as may be the case. Martial law so the military can arrest the criminals while we are all safe in our homes with our families. Unless you're green as the most tender new shoots in spring, you probably realize that when SHTF, the dark will probably unleash antagonists to cause violence, looting, or any mischief they can manage. No matter how things appear, we must not engage the military and be sure to follow instructions. The positive forces will be keeping an eye on bridges, dams, electrical plants, water treatment facilities, and all infrastructure to hopefully ensure there are no interruptions, particularly to hospitals, law enforcement, etc. You get the drift. We may get a cellular alert, East presidential messaging tested in America in early October. If so, we would follow those instructions. It's nothing to be afraid of. In fact, I would be celebrating. We have been half expecting this for a very long time, and the sooner it is executed, the better. Some have said martial law is not necessary to remove the cabal, while others say it is. Who do we believe? It's better to be prepared for anything, as President Trump asked in his official preparedness proclamation, which we've shared multiple times since it was posted at whitehouse.gov on August 31st, 2018. It's not about fear porn, it's about making this process as easy and safe as possible. Not everyone will be prepared, so those of us who are will be valuable assets to ensure the safety and education of others to reduce fear and make sure no one goes without essentials. We particularly need to care for the elderly and disadvantaged. They may not live on social media like many of us and may not hear about anything at all. If martial law does not unfold, no problem, no harm, no foul. There is a war unfolding on this planet, and we would be irresponsible not to prepare for the worst and expect the best. I anticipate that when difficult circumstances present, Americans will care for each other as they always do in crises. Any problems, if there are problems, will not be from average citizens. They will be from agents provocateurs, cabal terrorists. Looking on the bright side, perhaps we'll get an extended Christmas vacation out of it. I would just say Merry Christmas, be safe, take care of each other, and no fear. Our liberation is underway. Presidential Proclamation on National Preparedness Month, 2018. National Preparedness Month is a time to focus our attention on the importance of preparing our families, homes, businesses, and communities for disasters that threaten our lives, property, and homeland. During this time, we also honor the brave men and women who selflessly respond to crises and disasters, rendering aid to those in need. These first responders, who work tirelessly to safeguard our nation and protect our citizens, deserve our utmost gratitude and appreciation. Over the past year, communities nationwide and across the territories have witnessed and endured damage from multiple hurricanes, wildfires, tornadoes, floods, volcanic eruptions, and other natural disasters. The historic hurricane season of 2017 included 3 catastrophic storms that made landfall within a month, and was followed by a destructive series of wildfires in California. Combined, these natural disasters affected 47 million people, and tens of thousands were mobilized to provide aid, comfort, and assistance. We are also especially mindful of those currently affected by ongoing wildfires in California, Oregon, and Colorado. In spite of tremendous challenges, the resilience of the American people continues to prevail. Tragedies are somber reminders that preparedness is a shared responsibility and that it is critical to maintain readiness. All Americans can prepare for potential disasters by developing and practicing a family emergency response plan, assembling a disaster supply kit, signing up for alerts on mobile devices, setting aside emergency savings, and maintaining adequate insurance policies for their homes and businesses. The Federal Emergency Management Agency's Ready campaign outlines other important steps to best prepare for a major disaster. This month, I encourage all Americans to take the opportunity to ensure they have an emergency response plan in place and ready to be properly executed. Emergencies and disasters test the resilience and strength of families, communities, and our nation. It is impossible to avoid every challenge and threat, but we can and must prepare for them. By doing so, we can help protect our communities and save lives. Now, therefore, I, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Constitution and the laws of the United States, do hereby proclaim September 2018 as National Preparedness Month.
Yep.
I encourage all Americans, including federal, state, and local officials, to take action to be prepared for disaster or emergency by making and practicing their emergency response plans. Each step we take to become better prepared makes a real difference in how our families and communities will respond and persevere when faced with the unexpected. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand this 31st day of August, in the year of our Lord 2018, and of the independence of the United States of America the 243rd. Donald J. Trump. Below, we see Twitter source Greg Rubini's intel involving the reasons Nancy Pelosi and her entourage might have wanted to be out of the country for a week beginning this past weekend. See the Patriot Hour video below. The tweets from Donna Brazile that Dave highlighted in his X22 report last night appeared to contain strong messages about presidential deaths. There are various opinions about the Pelosi business trip. Some believe Pelosi took family members on the trip simply to impress them. Perhaps I've been wearing a tinfoil hat too long, but when I hear large numbers of children are being transported internationally and avoiding the manifest of a commercial plane, I think child sex trafficking, but maybe it was something quite different. It would be easy to mix a few undocumented children in with a large family of kids if using a military plane. However, and apparently Pelosi wanted to handpick the captain and crew. It seems very secretive. Obviously using the military and living the high life while traveling with the vast quantities of alcohol we heard about on trips like this, we taxpayers do not want to pay for it. But perhaps it's about the planned coup we've heard about to eliminate the president and vice president. Pelosi and friends took a commercial plane after all for their trip, but did any of the original members of the party go, including the children, or just the politicians? I don't see anyone at all in this footage from Natasha but Nancy and her security detail. I don't think she likes to compromise. Nancy Pelosi flies commercial, Ebola breakout closes foreign border. As wealthy as she is, she won't pay for her family of 85 to travel with her unless someone else foots the bill. Natasha also mentions the possibility of the president shutting down U.S. borders to travelers due to an Ebola outbreak in a Congolese province. Interesting idea. The information floating around the internet now is colorful, with David Sublik telling us the military is about to invoke martial law. They seem to want to keep the idea circulating. Steve Motley, retired Marine, tells us he believes the time is ripe for the deep state to stage an event to take out a large number of Americans, which the Dems and fake media would then blame on President Trump because he shut down the government. We continue to get reports of people doing odd things, possibly weaponized people. We heard recently that former FBI Director James Comey was equipped to trigger mind-controlled people for attacks like the one the FBI exposed before it could happen at the White House. Or perhaps it's the full moon post-ecliptic energies disrupting behavior. Man tried to ram gate of presidential palace in Warsaw. Drunken passenger tries to hijack Russian plane and fly to Afghanistan, forces early landing. Keeping in mind that disinfo is rampant from both sides of the war, the remainder of January might get very interesting indeed, and Q fans may soon go into withdrawal after 9 days without breadcrumbs to nibble. CB.
There'll be a lot of likes and subscribers on my Facebook when I send this out. I know that for a fact. And then I know y'all are still watching and everything. And I know that y'all are concerned. Pelosi out of town. I didn't know that. Thanks, Anonymous, for giving me that information. I'm just a speaker and I'm bringing out the real news because the ones that I get the news from is getting shadow banned. So it's kind of like we're having to do reruns and it's pretty sad. But hey, whatever saves the humanity, right? Because the robots are about to come in here and kill you because you were dumbasses. Come on, let's go.
of the
I
world.
don't want that.
A chilling new foreign intelligence service,
Thank you.
SVR,
I don't want
report
that.
circulating in.
See ya. Alright. Let's go to the next one. USA, Russia, China, now Israel. Two masters. Two masters. Great deception. That's not what I wanted. That's the wrong thing. Okay, here we go. Check this out.
Ballistic missiles and cruise missiles with ranges of 500 to 5,000.
Okay. Wait right in a minute. One day.
Watch out, China. U.S. leaves Cold War era medium-range missile treaty. So it's done. The U.S. has suspended its participation in the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces, INF, treaty, and Russia soon followed suit. This almost certainly spells an end to this late Cold War relic, which banned the two superpowers from deploying ground-launched ballistic missiles and cruise missiles with ranges of 500 to 5,500 kilometers. There have been recriminations all round. But in the end, so far as two of the world's three most greatest military powers are concerned, upholding the INF treaty could never have been done exactly to the letter. The U.S. has specified Russia's Novator 9 M729 NATO designation, SSC-8, as the offending missile that finally prompted U.S. action. Russian nuclear weapons analyst Pavel Podvik has noted that it is very similar to the Russian Navy's Kalibrenka cruise missile, which has a range well beyond 500 kilometers and has been touted as a potential carrier killer. Podvik goes on to speculate that if the U.S. had observed a test of the 9M729 from a land-based Iskander-M launcher, even if on just a single occasion, then all of them would have to be eliminated by the formal terms of the treaty. This is obviously not something that Russia could reasonably be expected to carry out. Moreover, any number of U.S. missile systems can be considered to be in breach of the INF treaty. For instance, the Russians have argued that America's Aegis Ashore program, a ground-based cruise missile, for all intents and purposes, can also be considered to be in systemic breach of the INF treaty. Incidentally, this system was itself enabled by America's unilateral withdrawal from the anti-ballistic missile treaty with Russia in 2002, under the George W. Bush administration. Trump has been taking heat for the INF withdrawal from the usual quarters. For instance, the top comment on this story at R-Politics, a bastion of online Trump, Putin derangement syndrome, lambasts the U.S. president for spoiling America's image and letting down its allies instead of sanctioning Russia. Naturally, no mention of where exactly it says that breaking the treaty is grounds for such. In reality, dissatisfaction with the INF treaty had been building up for years within the previous Obama administration, and NATO has released a statement of support for Trump's decision. There is no significant division on this matter either within U.S. political circles or its transatlantic allies. Because at the end of the day, rhetoric to the contrary, nobody really cares about the INF treaty within Europe. Force levels on both sides of the border between the West and Russia, which has moved 1,000 to 1,500 kilometers to the east, in large part thanks to NATO's broken promises not to expand, are at a small fraction of Cold War levels. Few seriously believe that Russia has any territorial designs on the Baltics, and even on the off chance that it does, it's not like the 9M729 is going to make any cardinal difference. However, it is with respect to the balance of power in the West Pacific that the restrictions imposed by the INF on the US but not on China come into play. While consensus expert opinion holds that the US still retains dominance in the South China Sea vis-a-vis China, its margin of superiority is shrinking year by year. In a 2015 report, the RAND Corporation estimated that the number of U.S. air wings required to defeat a surge of attacking Chinese aircraft over Taiwan increased from just a couple in 1996 to 30 by 2017. In a subsequent report released in the following year, we see the balance of power in potential China-U.S. conflict scenarios shift from a terminal Chinese disadvantage in 1996 to parity over Taiwan by 2017. though they believe that the US still holds a decisive advantage in a conflict over the Spratly Islands. Even so, it is especially notable that the only two categories in a conflict over Taiwan in which Iran now considers China to hold an advantage, Chinese attacks on air bases and Chinese anti-surface warfare, are both spheres in which intermediate-range ballistic missiles would play an important role. This is not just my supposition. In another 2016 RAND report, tellingly titled War with China, Thinking Through the Unthinkable, this consideration is stated openly and forthrightly. U.S. land-based missiles from 500 kilometers to 5,500 kilometers are prohibited by the INF Treaty, whereas the Chinese missiles are not, giving China a significant advantage. It has long been obvious that the U.S., correctly, regards China as the real long-term threat to its global hegemony. Meanwhile, Russia is a mere nuisance, a dying bear that is ever approaching collapse, in the wake of which Moscow will have no choice but to sign up to America's China containment project. Sure, this sounds like a crazy ideological narrative, and it is, but the US policy of alienating Russia and drawing it into a quasi-alliance with China is even crazier, just ask Kissinger. But like it or not, this really is how the American elites think, and it can't be denied that there is a certain logic to it. In this context, withdrawal from the INF Treaty, with Russia's alleged violations as pretext, is just the logical next step to the military component of Obama's pivot to Asia, one that the US is entirely happy to continue and follow through with. It really is as banal as that.
Guys, if you just joined me, I cannot see anybody or anybody's liking or disliking. I put something on privacy where I don't care about seeing likes or dislikes because it's not about disliking or nothing like that. It's about views, and I just want y'all to know that. And the only way I know you're on there if you comment down below. And then if anybody does anything hateful, Kayla will be monitoring it, and you're going to jail if you say anything wrong. So just thought you might want to know that. All right, let's go to the next one. Oh, here you go. This is something that I reported in December. I did. Hold on. Let's see what's up. Okay, he's an idiot. All right, here we go. That's not what I wanted. Forget it. Okay. Okay, here we go. We're gonna go to this one. As well. No, we're not. We're not either. This is high intentions are here. Yeah, let's go with this. Breaking news.
This is the
High intentions. The U.S. Navy tried to sink this aircraft carrier for weeks and failed.
about buying cars. That's a car, this is the phone, and this is drive time. Do you need a car? Yes, but I don't.
Alright, go to the next one.
To even try to sink an American flat top, you first must hit it. That's not easy either. No carrier sails without an air wing with as many as 50 fighter aircraft plus several escorting destroyers, cruisers, and submarines. A virtual wall of defensive weaponry surrounds the flat top out to a distance of several hundred miles. A Chinese admiral and pundit told a trade show audience that Beijing could resolve China's territorial disputes by sinking two U.S. Navy aircraft carriers and killing thousands of American sailors. Rear Admiral Liu Yun's threat isn't an empty one. The Chinese military has deployed an array of weaponry that it acquired specifically to target American flat-tops. But a U.S. Navy test in 2005 proved that even if you hit them, carriers are really hard to sink. Liu made his provocative comment on December 20th, 2018 at the Military Industry List Summit, according to media reports. What the United States fears the most is taking casualties, declared Liu, an anti-American author, social commentator and military theorist at the PLA Academy of Military Science. Sinking just one carrier could kill 5,000 Americans, Liu pointed out. Sink two, and you doubled it all. We'll see how frightened America is after losing 10,000 sailors, Liu crowed. Leaving aside the likelihood of a full-scale war breaking out between the world's two leading military powers and economies, sinking a carrier is easier said than done. History underscores the difficulty of the undertaking. In 1964, Viet Cong saboteurs managed to damage and briefly sink the former U.S. Navy escort carrier Gardwal vessel, then operating as an aircraft carrier for the U.S. military seat of command moored in Saigon.
Dang.
But the last time anyone permanently sank a U.S. Navy aircraft carrier in combat was during World War II. 12 American carriers sank during the war, usually following intensive air attacks. The last to sink, USS Bismarck C, fell victim to Japanese kamikazes in February 1945. In subsequent decades, American flat-tops suffered serious accidents, including collisions and fires, but none sank. It's very difficult to sink a buoyant, 1,000-feet-long ship that's mostly made of steel. The U.S. Navy knows this from experience. In 2005, the Navy itself targeted the decommissioned carrier America in order to determine just how much punishment the vessel could withstand before slipping beneath the waves. The ship was pummeled by explosions both above and below the waterline, the war zone reporter Tyler Rogaway explained in 2018. After nearly 4 weeks of these activities, the carrier was scuttled. On May 14th, the vessel's stern disappeared below the waterline and the ship began its voyage to the seafloor. America stood up to 4 weeks of abuse and only succumbed to the sea after demolition teams scuttled the ship on purpose once and for all. It's clear that America was built to sustain heavy damage in combat and still stay afloat. Consider also the carrier-shaped pontoon ship that Iran built as a scale target for a 2015 war game. While small and flimsy compared to a real flat top, the pontoon vessel itself endured an intensive assault. Iran struck the full carrier with a barrage of anti-ship missiles, then swarmed it with small boats and then landed commandos on it, Rogaway reported. Still, the fake flat top apparently remained afloat. To even try to sink an American flat top, you first must hit it. That's not easy, either. No carrier sails without an air wing with as many as 50 fighter aircraft plus several escorting destroyers, cruisers, and submarines. A virtual wall of defensive weaponry surrounds the flat top out to a distance of several hundred miles. Still, China or another country could attempt to target the carriers with submarines, cruise missiles, and ballistic rockets. They will employ multiple systems in order to confuse and overwhelm U.S. defenses, naval historian Robert Varley wrote in 2017. They will rely on the threat of attack to keep U.S. carrier battle groups as far as possible from the main theaters of operation. But the observation that the enemy has a missile or a torpedo that can kill a carrier only begins a conversation about carrier vulnerability, Varley continued. Shooting anything at an aircraft carrier is a costly, difficult operation. The carrier's attackers could face withering counterfire from the vessel's defenders. Beyond the monetary cost, launching an open attack against an American carrier strike group with its own cruisers, destroyers, and submarines is almost certainly a suicide mission. And if the United States' reaction to the 9/11 terror attacks is any indication, Washington surely would deploy all its remaining military might, including its surviving 8 or 9 carriers, against country behind the sinking. So there are 2 questions that remain for anyone who thinks they even have a shot at taking down one of these enormous steel behemoths. Thoroughly explained. Can you do it? And even if you can, is it worth it?
Nope, but they can cut you off with the EMP. And that's what they're playing with.
You have right now 2 choices. Either you are saying to yourself, I would like to learn something, build up my business from home, and I would like to achieve something what
same powerful pain relief where it's never been before.
Come on, dance. Dance, Michael. Come on. You hate me so bad. I'm still beating your ass. I'm beating you, pedophile. Come on. Come on. Say something. Say something on comments so Kayla can bust your ass. Your ass. Yeah. Yeah. We're gonna bust your ass. Come on, dance. Come on, pedophiles. We're gonna stick it straight up your ass. Yeah. Come on. Say something, you coward. You goat-faced piece of shit. Pretty cool song that I just made up out of nowhere. RKO out of nowhere. Hope you're liking the Forza with EARNHARDT ROLEX 24. First time ever. Live. That's it. Damn. We've been listening to that goofy ass music for that. You gonna shut her down. Wow. You suck today, dude. Lord have mercy. See if there's any news before we go off the air. Because we're going off the air and after the next pit stop. Yes, we are. Where's Ruth? I heard she's dead. Can we go to that one? Why not? Let's go to Ruth. Where's Ruth?
Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg is making her first public appearance since undergoing lung surgery in December. This was at the concert at a museum a few blocks from the White House, given by her daughter-in-law and other musicians. Now, the concert is dedicated to Ginsburg's life in the law. What goes on from here and what is reported from here is very interesting because they say she was sitting in the room, in the very back of the room, and it was darkly lit, and it wasn't announced that she was there, and nobody saw her. You weren't allowed to take pictures. Well, a lot of pictures and video from the actual event itself has been released, and there has been no pictures of her taken at this event.
She's dead. Just like the pedophile.
Man, this is the Infowars.com Infowars show. So Doug Agman and Joe Agman sitting in for Alex Jones, of course, in the fourth hour here. You know, do you remember Antonio Scalia? Obviously, as the Supreme Court justice who passed away allegedly on a ranch. Unattended death.
Obama's parent.
Right, unattended death. Obviously, this was an unattended death. And look, I in my capacity professionally, I've seen unattended deaths and handled things, and there's a protocol that you adhere to for unattended deaths. Well, you know, initially I looked at that and I thought, well, okay, things weren't followed exactly 100%. I could see where maybe things might have just slipped by through the cracks or whatever. But then I thought, okay, wait, this is a Supreme Court justice. You don't want any kind of, you don't want anything to be. Believe me, there's a lot. I got to tell you, there's a lot of paperwork in unattended deaths. Okay, a lot of paperwork, and even more in suspicious deaths that are also unattended, but you get the idea. All right, so here's the bottom line. I thought, well, maybe those people who were saying that this is really not right, or making something more of it, then, kind of on the fringe of things. Okay, now that's at the end of, as Joe said, the end of Obama's term, basically, or the time in office, and you can see the impact of the Supreme Court justices have. But what I'm getting to is this. I want proof of life. I want proof of life of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And Joe and I, primarily Joe, has done a lot of investigative work on, okay, where is she? And again, for those people looking for Ruth Bader Ginsburg, look, she's not here. She's not up, in the my home and my guest room. And I do suspect kind of forgive me, but kind of a Norman Bates kind of thing going on here, where maybe somebody will find her in a rocking chair. And I would suggest if you do, just those people looking for, carry a little can of Vicks around with you, and it always helps underneath the nose. Little tip from LEO, for the LEO community. But I do wonder at this point if we're not seeing this deep state hiding. And for as much as that sounds gruesome, I'll just say this. Look, we pray, hope, and pray that she's on the road to fast recovery and all that. But don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining out. All right, just tell me what the deal is. After all, we have the right to know as American citizens, given her position of prominence, and we're not getting that. So, Joe, what do you? I'm going to give you it to you.
Well, let's do this. Okay, with Ruth Bader Ginsburg, there was a number of interesting things that have happened from January till just the State of the Union.
Her body for Kentucky
as we all know, in late December, she fell and broke her ribs. When that happened, they found, I believe it was a polyp or two lesions of some kind in her lung, cancerous tumors in her lung that were very small, which she had an operation and had them removed. And people have not seen her since. She has not been serving on the bench, leaving many to ask, what's her condition? There's no public appearances. There's no proof of life. The real question is, are they holding her in the back room on ice till 2020 elections when they believe Trump will not be in office and he's not allowing him to get another Supreme Court pick? Well, this is the series of events that have happened.
Hillary Clinton, I just want to put this in there. Hillary Clinton is not sick either. Okay, don't believe your lying eyes. No, she didn't fall.
Man, I don't
she
want to
was a
lose this
shoe.
thing.
That was just one. Just one of those unfortunate
Get out
things.
of the way.
Again, don't believe your lying eyes. Don't believe what the the new media is telling you. Okay, go ahead. I just want to make sure people aren't losing their minds.
With Hillary Clinton, even the fact checkers were saying, "Oh no, that's not true. She didn't collapse. She didn't fall down. She wasn't sick. She was fine." But Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and there's a footage of her falling right there. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, in January, Fox showed a graphic, and this graphic had a date. I believe it was 1933 to 2019, and it was serving as a memorial. Pretty much what happens when people pass away. They put up these little graphics in memory of, and they had the date. So they further issued a retraction or an apology.
People have been asking me to talk about this
on accident, and there's don't read anything into it. It was just on our part. Right, I know. And there it is. And you have to understand that I'm sure news organizations do things like this when they expect certain people to pass. Who knows? Maybe they have one for all their own anchors and people in Hollywood.
Well, they do. Yeah, from the president down to the
There's no reason to show that on TV. And I can understand somebody pressing the wrong button, but why is that even in the in circulation of things that could make its way to TV? That's my question. But let's put that aside. Now, Monday there was an event, and this event, I believe, at the National Women's of Arts in D.C. I'm not sure the correct name.
It's a pretty obscure place. I mean, it was an obscure event, right? I mean, it wasn't one of these things where
Notorious RPG in song. It was an hour and a half musical, if you will, about her life and about her practice on the Supreme Court. And this lady was singing about her life using quotes that in cases she ruled on. But anyway, this is what was reported, that Supreme Court Justice Ginsburg is making her first public appearance as undergoing lung surgery in December. This was at a concert at a museum a few blocks from the White House, given by her daughter-in-law and other musicians. Now, the concert is dedicated to Ginsburg's life in the law. What goes on from here and what is reported from here is very interesting, because they say she was sitting in the room, in the very back of the room, and it was darkly lit, and it wasn't announced that she was there, and nobody saw her. You weren't allowed to take pictures. Well, a lot of pictures and video from the actual event itself has been released, and there has been no pictures of her taken at this event. And they also said,
she's dead.
as I said, no cameras there. Other people took pictures of the crowd, and it seemed like a lot of younger people. And I think it was part of a high school was there, and then there were other people who attended. But nonetheless, there was no proof of life, no pictures of her, and no video of her being anywhere near this place. And Sebastian Gorka tweeted out the next day saying, I believe that this concert or non-appearance of hers is going to be her excuse to not go to the State of the Union address. And sure enough, right before that, they announced that she was not going to be present at the State of the Union due to her attendance at this conference. But during the concert, her son-in-law got up there and said that Ruth is fine. She walks a mile a day and meets with her personal trainer twice a week. But here's the question. Basically, I believe TMZ, I believe this still is true, TMZ camping out in front of her house, or they have people sitting there waiting for her, to make her appearance, to come out of the house. We still have not seen that.
On screen, Joe. You're making
I gotta touch my computer. I gotta touch the computer. So, anyway, the news, Fox News to AP to everybody else, reported that she attended this conference a few blocks from the White House that was dedicated to her. There was no mention of this by the people who were hosting or putting on the concert. There was nothing to say, thank you, she's here. Nothing like that, which is pretty customary. You'd think that when a concert is given in the honor and memory of her life in the law, she would be in the front row, and they would make it a big deal,
Or at least one picture. At least one, yeah.
Exactly.
But you know what? Here's what I heard. I heard Norman was talking to her. Her son Norman. I heard Norman was talking to her, and the rocking chair was going back and forth and back and forth, and I guarantee it. Yeah, in the trophy room. Go ahead, Joe. I didn't mean that. I guess that was poor taste, but so what?
One other little aspect of this, as we're closing out this segment, was an anonymous nurse posted to one of the forums online and stated that Ruth Bader Ginsburg is in a coma somewhere out west.
She's an old lady.
And they put a
She's
picture
gonna
of,
die.
you couldn't make heads or tails of
They
who
just
it was.
ritual
And they gave this information. Basically, she's on life support being kept alive. I don't know if that's true or not. It's pure speculation, and the photographic evidence is not definitive either way. But where is Ruth Bader Ginsburg? Are they keeping her on ice? Is she alive? And what are the laws? I mean, if she did pass away, or if she is being kept on life support, do the Democrats or do these people have a right to tell the American public? Is it a law? Should they tell them? Because if she's unable to serve or will be unable to serve in the future, is that something that should be shared with the public?
For those looking for the ultimate source of energy for their day, every day, the Brain Synergy Combo is here. Combining the powerful Turbo Force and Brain Force Plus nootropic formulas, this combo has what you need to hit your maximum potential.
All right, guys. We're gonna do about a couple more laps, and then we're gonna come back tonight to show you some more of the Forza under the lights in Daytona. But I'm gonna have to cool off the camera for a little while. But let's play something for y'all while we're going off the air. I appreciate y'all subscribing, liking, and sharing. I love you all. Please keep on doing what you're doing. Thank you for the donations on Facebook Live, Messenger. We do appreciate it, seriously. But I hope y'all enjoy it. What we've done. I care. I hope y'all do. We need to help these kids in the military that's homeless. Because our military is getting screwed by the government. And you want to know why we're fighting against your stupid government.
While America celebrated the fall of Prohibition,